Hopefully we get a turnout here. Some people seemed interested. There was a couple people, and there's some doctors we invited. There's some people from Matt's and down at Paradise. So
Yeah, Dan's here.
How did you know I was bipolar when you said plural? It's supposed to be a secret.
Hi, Dan. Yeah, he's our Matt's guy.
and
Yeah,
this is
it's
my
rumored there are other Mats people, but they don't seem to come out of the water. They're still,
Yeah,
submerged.
evolution.
maybe they snowbird or something.
Yeah, you remember the swamp thing, do you? Is that dating? That's a long time ago.
Well, we'll give like 2 more minutes to the county, and then we can go. I sent an agenda out. There was a couple things missing. There's one for Rick, the stuff that he just sent out a minute ago. Um, and then also I didn't include on there talking to the PLVC tomorrow. We're doing the annual presentation. Well, Jeff knows about it, but annual presentation. So I'll go to that tomorrow to do our part as far as. Makes sense. Yeah, yeah, and supposedly they were removed from the list and all this kind of stuff. I I don't know because we sent out several emails along the way and had people reply to updates. And if you didn't reply to your email, then you got removed. Because I mean, if you're not going to be like, we gave them a month or something like that to reply. And so if they're not going to reply and then turn around and just check on stuff once a year, a week before the Great Shake, that doesn't necessarily work. But I think that over the next year it'll get better because we'll have an automated training for the block captains and be able to get a little bit more. Uh, they'll be motivated to join because of the way that we're going to do it. As far as Rick's working on getting AI to make a tsunami wash out Port Ludlow, but there's also videos on YouTube for the subcadia, the subduction zone going and stuff. So just doing that and letting people know, hey, you moved into this area, unless they're from California and kind of know about quakes in the first place, they don't really know about that, and then that's a good way to introduce them to it and get that. But I think as far as the block captain rosters and stuff, it's not as bad as it seems. I think the block captains weren't there in the first place. I've been on this. I've been a block captain for about 4, almost 5 years now, and even the first year, I was the only block captain in my neighborhood, and I was still indigo. They went through A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to me, and not a single one of those persons replied. So it's actually not falling apart. It's getting cleaned up, And now we're training and expanding the program in actually having people that are real be on the list and not just a name that, 15 years ago they volunteered to be on the block captain list. Yeah, and they died like
Well,
5 years ago.
and remember, in the after action report, there were 24 people who reported in that they would participate, but they can't because they had a prior commitment. So you add that 24 possible responses into the numbers, and we're suddenly over 50% response.
And if you take out
So
people,
it's
really
misleading. It is misleading.
we
But you're right.
had a good response rate. Yeah. Well, and maybe
Yeah.
yeah. And some of the
Yeah.
neighborhoods don't want to participate. So it's another part of going back through and kind of annexing. Okay, 20 houses is about as many as one block captain needs to cover. So North Bay is really each road that goes off, that should be a block captain. As Swansonville goes up, you have those cul-de-sacs that shoot off, one block captain for each. And then South Bay is a little easier because of the way that the neighborhood was built. They would build a neighborhood, then they'd create an association, then they'd build a neighborhood and create association. So it was a lot easier to have those micro associations where North Bay was the master plan or LMC or whatever it was, and that was all of North Bay. So it was never really broken up into the individual groups of people. It was just you live in North Bay and you happen to live on this road. And so trying to get that where it's broken out and maybe just saying, hey, someone on this road needs to be a block captain or your road isn't going to be covered, and just put the onus back on the owners of those houses because someone has to step up. And then if they don't, then we can kind of put those people as a subcategory. We do our initial survey, and then maybe we have neighborhoods that aren't represented that we'll go back through later on after we get the neighborhoods that are. And then that'll be kind of a backup plan because we can only do whatever we can do as far as the volunteers go. Definitely has to put the onus back on the people that live in the neighborhood that aren't getting the volunteer to show up. So that's my note,
Well,
I think, right there. So
yeah, and I have, in addition to that, I've gotten a lot of feedback from block captains, and we're going to have to reevaluate how the geography of the block captain system is set right now, just because of what Jason's talking about. In addition to that, there are neighborhoods that have um, so many block captains that nobody knows who's in charge. And that's one thing that has to be established is a neighborhood has to establish who is the lead block captain. And that's going to be the person that talks on the radio and communicates with the comm center. We can't have 7 block captains in one neighborhood calling in and wiping out other people from other neighborhoods. So we've got to reevaluate some of the ways our policies are set right now so that we can be more efficient and get better coverage uh, without scaring people away.
I'm having
yeah,
trouble putting 20 houses together with 7 radios.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
no,
That's exactly my point.
please explain how there are people there's a neighborhood of 20 homes with 7 radios.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
exactly.
see
yeah,
that.
Mount Lake Terrace. Well, because I think the whole thing was they were taking anybody to be a block captain, and instead of going, look, you already have 2 block captains. If you want to be a block captain, we have areas over here that you could go to that are adjacent. As long as
That's
it's
exactly what that's
adjacent.
exactly what we're suggesting. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, to
is
reassign.
that they may be reassigned. They may live at the end of that block and really not in the mood to walk the entire length of that street to check 20 houses when they could go down to the next street and check 8 houses. So it's a matter of reevaluating it, and it's going to be a project, but I'm willing to undertake it and then present it to the committee.
I have another question about your organization. I call it Rick's radios, the ones that he's passed out. And
Yeah,
then a neighborhood can certainly get on a different channel and use FRS to speed up their internal activities, right?
correct.
Okay.
Correct. Each north and south, they all have what we call chat channels that are unassigned by us. The only channels we assign are channel 1, and that's the comm centers, so that I can communicate with all the radio operators, and channel 6 and channel 7, which is South Bay 6, North Bay 7. And then on those Baofeng radios we're handing out, there is also channel 16, which is a repeater channel, which allows I emphasize in block captain training that is only to be used in an emergency, because we don't want everybody using the repeater and blasting 50 watts of power out everywhere for non-emergency situations. So it's reserved for life and death kind of things where you need immediate help. Um, it's not to be used for routine because we can do just fine with channel 1, channel 6, and channel 7. Channel 8 is Marestone, so it's reserved. But all the other channels are available.
Yeah, actually they're not, but that's okay. You guys are in a valley,
Yeah,
what do you call
we're
it?
in a hole, a
Yeah.
topographical hole.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
well, that's one of the discussions that we'll have a little bit later on today too. Is some of the lessons learned from the Great Shake. There was over on Coopville, they had a amateur radio group that was using channel 7 at the same time we were, and we were blasting each other back and forth as far as the reports and stuff. So we got to work with them throughout the year to get them on a different channel because they all have hams, so they can pick a special frequency over there.
Well, yeah, they should be using a ham frequency anyway. They shouldn't be using GMRS. They're an unaffiliated club. They're not affiliated with the Department of Emergency Management on Island County. So, we are, and we have been, and those are the channels that we have registered with the county. And so we're kindly asking them to move to a different GMRS channel, making suggestions as to which ones they can use. And we're also advising them, well, why aren't you using a ham radio? Well, I think it's because a lot of the people we're talking to aren't hams. That's probably why.
Yeah,
But during a legitimate emergency, they don't need to be. But be that as it may, exercises, yeah, they do.
So
I'll
I'm
just make
thinking.
one.
Oh,
I'll just make one other comment. You guys don't own those channels, so
No,
you
we
need to
don't.
be you need to be prepared to have people coming on those channels. It could be anybody, and learning how to
Yeah,
share with them. Give your location, your name, and share.
yeah, and that's what
yeah, that's
happened.
exactly
We
right.
did share, and they reported correctly. We reported correctly, and got it worked through. It wasn't. There was no animosity. They actually were very
Yeah,
forthcoming. They even used their
yeah, very
license number.
cordial.
Yeah.
They didn't realize it, so but they were obliged to check the channel before they started using it, and they didn't. We were already polling when they jumped in, so
Hmm.
that was the only mistake, and they know it.
And then I guess another lesson learned it's kind of goes in with the block captains and the Great Shake is just the north side polling. We're gonna have to figure that one out as far as getting the reports from the north side because I think somehow that hill that's behind the church there kind of blocks uh, some of the signals that are coming from just right on the other side of the hill. But that's one thing that we'll work through. And then getting the North Bay, going back through and looking at the map and kind of making zones. I think that instead of it saying Swansonville or Mount Terrace or whatever, where it's a main road, that there's 8 different block captains on. Those block captains actually live on tertiaries, and so we should
Yeah,
change it to be whatever that road is instead of the main road, and then that'll break that up a little bit more. Because when they're reporting it, you check it's one of them had 10 people on it, and 6
Yeah.
of them reported, and 3 of them were the same report because they were all kind of the same area. So that'll help us break that up. And then what we could do potentially is make it where there's 2 block captains maximum per zone. And then if they have an adjacent zone that needs another block captain, kind of working that out where we can distribute the block captains a little bit more evenly across the areas, but make it where they're very close, because if the road gets damaged or trees fall or something like that, they got to be able to get to wherever they're going to be inspecting.
Yeah, the radio issue, there was an additional problem, and it was my fault. Um, we plugged the radios into my vehicle, um, and the moment we transmitted, it blew a fuse in the truck. And it was because, yeah, and so we had to hastily, I had bought just a test system to try and see how effective it was. I was going to use a Yagi on a big tripod hooked up to my 10-watt bow thing, and that's what we used to poll this time. So it worked. I think we got everybody in North Bay that said they were. So the walkie-talkie and the directional Yagi antenna, it's very directional. You aim it and shoot it. I think that helped a lot. We are going to, as part of the fitting out of the comm center, we're going to move that bay radio equipment over to the church. That was part of my report, was that I've submitted a request to the church. I have tentative approval from the facilities manager, Daryl Kerr, but I submitted a formal written proposal to the church to add an additional GMRS antenna to the back of the building, and then move the equipment from South Bay indoors to that special room that we have assigned to us, and start setting up an actual comm center so it's ready to go, with printers and computers and radio gear. They have a security system, and I have no concerns about it growing legs and walking off there. They've given me tentative consent. I'm just waiting for official board approval before we make a move. But that will solve the radio problems. We'll only use the mobile systems if we don't have power then, because we can plug these radios in and run off AC power. So, and we can with these, but the idea is to set up a permanent station, right, and have that for indoor use, particularly with inclement weather coming. I don't want to be playing games outdoors if we can avoid it.
Yeah, it worked out really well. We were at the real estate office, and that was indoors, and that was nice to be able to.
Yeah, and you found you had a power supply, right?
Yeah. There was a DC power supply there. We'll have to look
Okay.
at putting some pigtails on there though, because the clips have a hard time where the positive
Okay.
and negative terminal are. So
Oh, sure. Yeah, they should ring terminals on them.
Yeah, that'll fix that. But yeah, everything went smooth as far as that goes.
Okay.
The reporting, last year I think we only got 25%. This year we got 30, so it went up. And I think if we
Yep.
truly get to who the block captains are, I still think we probably have 10 or 15 that really aren't there, that need to come off the
Yep.
list. We might have got 35, 40% response rate, which is not bad for that. So I
Yeah.
think you're leading up to this, maybe using the Great Washington Shakeout as a community training event where people could come to the church and see, in the event that there was a big earthquake or something, where they would go to redistribute whatever they were going to do, that sort of thing. Instead of just making it a polling thing for the block captains, if we could make it a community type of training.
we could do that next year.
Yeah, instead of, because if we do a radio drill, we kind of covered what the block captains do on that. I mean, you still go through the neighborhood, you check the signs and stuff, but I think it'd be more beneficial to have like a pizza party and have everybody come and go, okay, if this was going to occur, this is what we're going to go through. Your block captain may come through the neighborhood and do this. Do you have any special skills that you can volunteer and help out with? And just so they get a feeling for it, kind of like we did with the picnic, but do
Yeah.
it on a Port Ludlow level. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think that people they would get a bigger response, and then it's not necessarily the polling. Really, the polling, we should do a quarterly, the first of the month at 10 a.m. We do a radio check. And if you want to check your radio, go on at that point in time and we'll do a radio check. And then some sort of drill throughout the year. But the Great Shake
Yeah.
itself, I just think it's a good way to create training. Maybe play a video showing the Cascadia zone ripping and kind of the response and that sort of stuff. Springboard off the event, and I think we'll get more community buy-in. But I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
No, no, I think you're on the right track there. I don't know how well a quarterly radio check, yeah, that would probably work out pretty good. I doubt if we see much success with a monthly, but it's something to think about.
But yeah, quarterly
Yeah,
would be good.
quarterly would be fine, just as a radio check. Because I know at just before the couple of days before the shakeout, I had to swap out 4 different radios. People discovered they didn't work. And so, it happens. And if we do quarterlies in advance, then we'll probably detect those a lot quicker and get them replaced. Um, I think that's probably a good idea. I mean, there's a lot of things we're going to do next year that starting to ramp things up. All the training, I've got all the training syllabuses for every position in the comm center. They're ready to go. I've got 2 canned tabletop games that we'll play. One for a winter storm with no power out, with a power outage and no way in and out, and the other an earthquake, Cascadia with a tsunami. So, and those tabletop games will be the final kind of test for all the training that occurred during 2026. It's kind of the lead up. And once they've done those experience-based tabletops, then they should be good to go and be able to handle an incident. They'll certainly meet FEMA requirements.
Well, and anything we can get, any help is good. So,
Well, yep.
but we're getting support too coming this year, so that'll be good from the Rotary Club.
We've got to get, the funding issue. We're hoping that the Rotary Club will come through as they kind of promised for this, for 2026 funding, and I think they will, because we're in early enough, and we didn't get funded last year because they'd already made their decisions. They didn't want to reverse that, so I understand that. So hopefully they'll provide us with the funding, and we'll be able to put in a big gen set up at the church, enough to run the church, and then a smaller gen set at the real estate office
So
that'll run everything they need.
now that the church is letting us set up kind of in that room, is there still motivation to get kind of a 20-foot container there?
Well, there will be if I don't know whether we're gonna be able to put a shipping container in there just because of the aesthetics. But they already have a small building out there on the property, and we could just add another one that looks identical to it. And I know Daryl would not object to that. And it needs to be able to store cots and blankets and things like that. Um, so that's 2027.
Yeah,
So
and that
we got.
there is a commercial piece of property back there that's for sale, right behind the church. That hill, and
Oh, is there?
that wraps around where the condos are on that road that you
Oh,
just passed. I saw
yeah,
it the other day. I think they want 199,000 for it. So who knows if somebody ends up buying that and developing, maybe we can partner with them on more support for the event.
yeah. Uh, is it a buildable lot?
I don't know. They have some condos on the other side, so some of the buildings got to be buildable. I know that on the hill you wouldn't
Okay.
want to build something there, but yeah, if you go past the road where Sound Community Bank is, that just
Yeah.
the next road up, it's if you go down there, everything on the north side of that road, and then it goes around and goes down towards the church is all for sale.
I'll have to check that out. That's interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting that it
Interesting.
was there too.
Because you could put up a fairly earthquake resistant structure there for a permanent comm center and do
Yeah,
anything you wanted in there. Put
and
all
it's
kinds of antennas up and everything.
yeah, and it's higher on the hill too, because it's on the
Yeah.
back of that hill, so it wouldn't be too bad. But that is something that's out there. I came across when I was looking for
Okay.
a location, and I was like, eh, for me, it's cheaper to lease than it is to buy. So yeah,
Sure.
it's the sun.
There's no fuel storage. It's the sunlight. It's all solar. Solar solar is free energy and it's not explosive. Yeah. No, no. And the second, yeah, the secondary benefit is that we can keep the gen set inside. We can run it inside. So yeah, I mean, it stays plugged in all the time, so it stays charged up. And then if we discharge it, we've got big solar panels that will recharge it in a couple hours during the day. And when that happens, then what the backup is if we're recharging the gen set, then we're going to use the mobile radios in the vehicle to operate on the air while the gen set's being recharged. I mean, I've always got contingency plans. So yeah,
Yeah, I'd say
yeah,
genset's the wrong word, gives the wrong impression.
Power bank,
yeah, power banks.
industrial
Yeah,
street power bank with solar panels, basically. Dan, how did
yeah.
your drill go down that way?
We only had 2 people of 66 possible, so yeah. We went through our 9 steps of the map your neighborhood checklist, and some of them, 2 of them never went in the class, so they were kind of playing catch up.
Yeah,
Dan, do you need any radios down there?
Now everybody has their own.
Okay. Because I got a big box full of the FRS radios, and Mats is close enough. I think you can use FRS, isn't it? Or is the topography bad?
It's only in the neighborhood. Our neighborhood, it's supposed, channel 10 per NPrep uses that channel all around Mats Bay, and I know it doesn't coverage, so the only way to do that is with FRS radios is with relays. But we're
Oh,
not there yet, so our neighborhood covers fine, and the hilltops cover fine with channel 10. Yeah.
okay. Anything you need, just let me know if I can help.
No, it's for me, it's kind of like personal responsibility.
No, I know. I understand exactly what
Yeah.
you're saying.
I
It's
I
just I got my wife is on my case to get rid of all these radios I've got in the back room back there. And I mean, I got a ton of radios.
contact the Boy Scouts.
I'm going to. That's the final step is to donate these to either the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts so that they can use them in their summer camps with their counselors and stuff.
Yeah,
Because they won't work here. They just don't work.
yeah, too hilly. Well, heck, there's no reports from the county, so
who's
Yeah.
who's phone number 208?
I'm not sure. At first, I thought that was my note taker, but then it went away and came back, and my note taker has a
That's
disclosure
a
on the front of it. So
I think that's an Idaho number.
yeah, I don't know. You can unmute him.
Hello.
He came in once or twice.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, hopefully they learned something or have something to input in later. It could be Jay.
Yeah.
He's out of town. Maybe he just doesn't have a signal. He wasn't going to be in town. But yeah, so Great Shake, lessons learned. One thing, the timeline had it where the block captains call at 10 o'clock to find out where they're assigned, or the radio operators where they're assigned. I think that needs to be changed to a time like 30 minutes after an event occurs or something like that, because you don't know when it's going to ever really occur. Um, but that was the only thing as far as that goes. And then, it usually takes about an hour before we'll start pulling anyways. But
So
Well,
that,
the only reason I asked that of the RO team was so that if we encountered any problems with radios, that we had a little bit of time, we could fix it on the
oh,
fly.
okay. Yeah,
So that was the reasoning behind that.
yeah, I think for the most part, because we're all South Bay, we'll go to the real estate, being Marguerite, myself, Cole, and I can't remember the other
Peter.
gentleman. Yeah, Peter.
Peter Porter.
Yeah, so we'll go there just because that low spot there where the creek is, where the bay comes
Yeah.
in, creek's right there. So more than likely that might be damaged. So it just makes sense. Everybody on that side of that go to the church, and everybody on the south side go to the real estate.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's Nancy Kiesler lives about a block from the church. She lives on Bluebird Lane up behind the church. So
Okay.
she has a trail that goes right down to the church from there, and she's agreed to be the first RO out. So she will be first response and open up the church and start getting gear set up until all of us can show up and help out. And I think I'm going to have another radio operator or two sign on here once they get their tech licenses.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm walking distance. Myself and Margarita are both walking distance to the real estate.
Yeah.
Office. We're good on that end.
Oh, that's Stu. Yeah.
I don't know, because yeah, it shows him
Can
here.
we
So,
chat? Can we chat with him? I wonder if we can text him. Okay.
you can't remove this participant. Oh, I don't have access. Yeah, because I'm not logged in. Because we're not logged in as admin. Yeah. Yeah, because I quit logging into that. Well, I don't even have the Zoom council login.
Yeah.
Hopefully he could hear us, though. At least it could. Okay, good. Uh-oh. Gonna hear. Oh, you're muted. Good.
Oh, yeah, I got you. I got you.
Yeah, because it would have been echoing. Ah, there's Stu. All right. Sorry, Stu. We're still kind of learning this thing. Nobody was an admin, so we couldn't let you in.
Nice.
There
he is. There he is. You're on, Stu.
All right. Yeah, now you should be able to
Unmute your mic.
Yep.
There
All
you
right.
go.
Oh,
Can you guys hold on?
Yeah, we can hear you.
we got you.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I've been able to hear everything. I can't talk over the phone for some reason.
We figured it
Yes.
out. Neither
Okay.
Jeff or I was logged in under some administrator.
Not a big deal.
It's Jeff's fault. Excuse me.
That's the Boeing salute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did it.
You just gotta hope your Brady Bunch head is in the right spot.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
All right. Well, I'd ask the county if they got any training stuff. Stu, do you got anything since you've been on mute the whole time? Any input or?
No, I had something, but I don't remember what it was.
Would it have to do with the Great Shake or radios or repeater?
Yeah, I got hung up on a phone call, so I wasn't able to participate, unfortunately. That was unfortunate with work, but yeah, it sounds like somewhat of a typical turnout. But I like the idea of the quarterly radio calls. I also like the idea of doing a larger training exercise, or maybe an exercise isn't the right way, but using it for a larger training activity to try and, whether it's attracting block captains, attracting people in the community. I think people get notified that the event's going on or that the activity's going on. So I think however we can piggyback or capitalize on that makes sense to just drive awareness in our community.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
One of the things. Oh, go ahead, Jason.
Oh, I was just saying we'll line up some pizza and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm trying to develop a texting system for us to use that's similar to Nixle. That would be Port Ludlow's emergency committee texting system that would list all the block captains that want to receive them, so that we can send out a message, say, okay, grab your radios, we have an exercise right now. That kind of thing, versus, if cell's not available and during a disaster, texting is useless. But the fact is that these exercises and everything, we can send messages out to the block captains and the radio operators and use it as a tool for various things. I'm still working on that. It's a little more complicated than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, if it gets too complicated, one backup we could do is like a Port Ludlow WhatsApp group.
Yes. Yeah. We certainly ought to do that for the radio operators.
Yeah,
they're a much smaller group.
We have one that's here in South Bay. We call it the Walkie Talkies, but there's probably a good 45 people in that group. And we were able to kind of, when that first tsunami warning came through, we sent that out and people were pretty responsive of it. It was a good, people appreciated it.
And it's free.
Yeah, and as long as you have internet, which unless the big one happens, you'll have internet, and when the big one happens, everybody's going to come out of the woodwork anyways.
Yeah. Well, we'll have Starlink. So we have a Starlink system, so we should be able to have internet even after a disaster. I mean, the satellites are not on the Earth, so they shouldn't be affected.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. But they can come to the comm center. It'll be open, I think, unless we get too much traffic and have to meter it. But if we've got people that need to send a message to their families somewhere else, we certainly will allow that to happen.
Yeah, you can get a hotspot that will take about 135 people.
Yeah.
Connections.
The new, I don't know if either of you guys or anybody's used the new iPhone satellite texting system, but it is slick as snot. I think it's available on, were they on 17? I think it's on iPhone 14 and newer. And basically when you lose the satellite signal, or when you lose all cellular signal, it'll switch and it shows you a satellite. And then it's a little bit like a video game. You move the phone around until it shows you where to move it. So you line it up with the satellite and then it connects, and then you can text right over the satellite like it's just a normal text message. I used it last year when I was hunting in the Idaho backcountry, and we have no cell service for miles, and it was incredible. We've always used Garmin inReaches in the past, and it was just incredible. So anybody with that newer iPhone will have that capacity, and so just something to be aware of, because it's a big lift in connectivity if we lose cellular service.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wonder if that would allow you to text through WhatsApp.
I don't think it does, because it's going right through the iPhone server.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's through iPhone server. but so it won't use it. It's native to iPhone and only direct to iPhones. But but it's still, it is really slick.
That'd be
Yeah,
great
if
for
you get
health and
like
welfare
call.
messages to your out of
Yeah.
state contacts.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, with a Starlink
Hmm.
connection.
Yep.
Yep.
Right in the
Well,
cloud.
and we do have a sat phone just in case.
Yeah, Rick can communicate almost any possible way. I think the only thing you don't
Yep.
have is like a wigwam with a smoke.
Smoke signals. No,
Yeah.
I got my Cherokee pot in the backyard, and I can blanket. I can go at it if you want me to.
All right.
Yeah, I have a multiple forms of communication.
So that last email you sent, it was a form, Rick. Have it up somewhere here.
Right.
I think it was a layout. Oh no, it was a proposal. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's the copy of the proposal.
Yeah, never mind. Okay,
You can flash it up on the screen if you want.
I'm trying to find it.
Ah.
Here we go. Here we go. That was sent inbox. Here we go. Oh, and there's a damaged pole in the middle of the road. I don't know. I got an email from someone. They said, I don't know who I'm supposed to tell about this. I'm thinking that
Mhm.
it has nothing to do with the telephone.
Yeah, call PUD.
Yeah, there's a light thing. Okay, let me see if I can figure out how to share here. How do I share? This? Okay, here we go. So this is the proposal. Trying to zoom in. I don't know. I
I got to enlarge that for my feeble eyes here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can't from here.
Yeah, I'm trying to plus it. All it does is keep going from big to small. Sorry, I'm a retard when it comes to this stuff. Anyways, it says proposed operations center build out. PLVC Emergency Committee is requesting approval from the church leadership to begin a formal build out of a functioning emergency operations center. And then it goes into some of the antenna requests and the logistics that we want to set up, computers, suppression of a high frequency antenna mounted on one of the large trees. Oh, suspension. Sorry.
Yeah, that's so that we can communicate outside of the state.
Okay. Yeah, so there's several things, 5 kW solar, genset, outdoor storage container, proposing it to the church board for that. I guess you guys don't really need to see it, but yeah, that's okay. So that's in progress. Yeah, this next year is exciting. We hopefully we'll have some money coming in and be able to get those gen sets. We'll get things consolidated. We're actually taking the radios out of the Bay Club and the Beach Club because they're really not accessible and there's not but a day's worth of fuel there for a generator, so it doesn't serve our purpose. So now we're going to be at Charlie, which is the church, and Romeo, which is the real estate office, going forward. And then basically we got permission for the church downstairs to set up a comp center, which is great, so we can keep it set up. And then same thing, there's a room that we can use over at the real estate office too as well to get out of the weather. So things are moving in the right direction.
What, just out of curiosity, Jason or Rick, what's the cost of the power packs and solar panels for the two sites?
Well, the estimated cost for both of the power banks is almost $10,000.
Okay.
The big power bank that goes to the church because it has to serve as a temporary shelter is going to be at least a 5 kW.
Okay.
And the one at the real estate office will probably be about a 3 kW, which is more than they need because they're not going to be running all the lights and everything. They can run the heater, space heaters in their conference room where they're at. And that's what we'll do. We're not going to hook into the furnace. We're not going to hardwire it into the church or anything like that.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be mobile, in my mind, because you don't know if how much damage to the church would occur. So we have to be able to move equipment in and out if we have to.
And the school district has said that the schools become kind of a backup shelter as well. So we don't know if we'd need to be portable and maybe consolidate at the school.
Yeah.
It just depends on, you don't really know
Yep.
what's going to be.
Yeah, and as long as it's not a Cascadia event where we have a threat of a tsunami, the two clubs are our primary shelter options because of the space and the facilities they have. They have water, swimming pools, and they have toileting and showering and cooking facilities and plenty of space to put people on cots and so forth. However, you can't count on them if there's an earthquake. We can't use them. So there's very few incidents that would occur where we would be using the clubs as a shelter. For the most part, the church has enough space to handle a temporary shelter, and that's all we can offer to people. Part of the plan in the emergency plan is to engage block captains to check with neighbors to see if they can provide shelter for their neighbors there within the neighborhood, as opposed to everybody trying to centrally locate at Charlie location. So I mean, it's hard to cover all the bases, but I think that I'm assuming that the church is going to be our only primary shelter, that the clubs are only available under certain circumstances. I don't think they'll withstand the damage of an earthquake anyway. So, from what I've seen,
And you think the church will?
Yeah, the church is constructed differently.
It's an older building.
It's an older building, but they used heavy. Yeah, they used heavy timbers in it. They didn't cut any corners. And Daryl says he believes that church can withstand any earthquake that's thrown at it. Now you might lose the steeple, but he says structurally it should withstand it.
They weren't attaching the sticks to the foundation. Is there a foundation?
Yes, there is. They have a basement, concrete basement.
So that might be a weak spot there.
Yeah, it could be. The building could shift off the foundation. We just don't know. Nobody knows. And that's why I say everything's got to be mobile. We've got to be able to move it in and out, or at least have the equipment. For example, if we have that storage building, then we can put the spare mobile set of radios in there so they're not in the building if the building's unusable and they're accessible. I mean, these are kinds of things, little gory, granular details we have to consider. But it has to do with having the funding and facilities to accomplish this. And that's what we're working on next year. Yes. Yes. Last year I donated $1,000 to cover block captain supplies because they didn't have any money left. I think they had like $80 or something like that. Right, and I designated it for the emergency committee. I don't know how the treasurer chart of accounts reads, whether he has an account for each committee or how that money, but I know that we're supposed to have $1,000 credit. I haven't turned any invoices yet and don't plan to for a while because I haven't found the need to yet.
The as far as well,
Correct.
they're actually, I mean, they're a nonprofit, so they don't necessarily have to give money to nonprofits. They can give money to whatever project they want. And so there's two things they do. They have an annual project that they vote on, and then they kind of have these other kind of quarterly projects that they do throughout the year. And then sometimes they'll have a long-term project that may be a 2 or 3 year project. I think they're trying to slate us in for that long-term project
Yep.
where they'll
Exactly.
earmark a chunk this year and then another chunk the following year to finish it up. But I don't necessarily think it has to run through a nonprofit because Rotary is a nonprofit.
But and that points out a good question, Jeff, because I approached the former treasurer about setting up a separate account for emergency preparedness so that we could show donors that the funds went directly into an account that they intended it to. And I really never got an answer. But that's what LMC does, is their committees have like their ACC committee, and I think their Trails committee has separate accounts so that they keep that money separate.
The
Because I
answer
was there,
I got, Rick,
I was there at the time when they set up one of the accounts. She was in front of me setting up the account.
yeah, Rick, the answer that I got was it was too complicated to track on the donations to make sure that the money went to. Well, I knew because I was on the Trails committee.
Yeah, yeah, that's something that, and I have no problem with people donating to emergency preparedness, running it through PLVC. That's not the problem. The problem is just make sure that that donation goes directly to what they intended it to. Uh, that it doesn't go into a general fund and yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, they-
yeah,
it's like a 10% tax or something on any.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, we are more than happy to pay the vigorish. Yep. That's amazing. Uh, uh.
All right. Anything else? I don't know if I missed anything. The meeting is, I think it's the 17th of November. I put it in the agenda here. Hold on, I'll pull up the calendar. 17th. Okay. So 17th of November, 3 o'clock via Teams. I'll send a link out. Stu, you received a link, right? Obviously you got here, so that's good. We'll just have to make sure someone lets you next time.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, we,
Yeah, and I haven't been masking the emails. So Jeff, this latest email I sent, that's everybody that wants to attend the committee. If you want to do calendar invites, yeah, that'd be great. We got it. We got the Sunday matinee one. We're doing the 2 o'clock.
awesome.
Good. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason,
Yeah.
do you need me at that meeting?
I don't necessarily, but if you want to come,
Okay. Well, I have to go out of town
Oh,
to
just
Duval to celebrate my grandson's 5th birthday. So
Oh,
I'll
no.
be gone for a couple of days.
Family's
And I didn't know what. Yeah, especially those grandkids.
Yeah, gotta
That's
make
awesome.
yeah. Yeah, I got it covered, Rick.
If you need any info, Jason, just let me know before I go, and I'll send you a memo on it.
Okay. Yeah, just if you have like a little summary of your plan in your head on any of this stuff,
Okay.
that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you a 2025 profile and 2026 profile.
Perfect. Yeah, Jeff's hounding me on that anyways, so.
Yeah.
Cool. And I'm going to start trying to get more involved, guys. I talked to Rick a little while ago, and the last 2 months have just been nuts on my end. But now that
Oh, yeah.
November's here, I'm getting capacity. So, yeah, excited about getting more involved.
Right on.
Well, congratulations on your upcoming success.
Well, thanks. I still got 3 more weeks, but making the push.
I don't know of anybody that's not voting for you.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, no,
You'll carry Port Ludlow.
I appreciate it, but I am excited about getting more involved in the emergency management stuff. It's something that I'm passionate about, and yeah, just excited to dig in.
Good. I like passion about emergency preparedness.
All right. I'll
Cool.
see you guys in a month or sooner.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good afternoon.